You twist a jar lid, you grip a stair rail. But here's what nobody tells you. That squeeze reports on your brain. I watched a stronger man than me lose his footing on a bathroom floor. Did that squeeze feel as strong as it did 10 years ago? Give me 10 seconds. What you find out, you can't unknow. I'm Atlas Reed, and I'm glad you're here. Subscribe, you belong here. Point 1. That's what got me looking at a study that followed over 19,000 older adults, tracking who eventually developed dementia and who didn't. The ones with the weakest grip carried a 43% higher risk than the ones with the strongest. Not because a weak hand causes a failing brain, because a hand is wired straight back into the same nervous system running everything upstairs. Grip strength isn't measuring your forearm. It's a dipstick into how well your whole nervous system is still firing. That's the same system that let my father cross a bathroom rug 1,000 times without a second thought, until the one time it didn't. At 61, 3 years into rebuilding the strength I'd let slip in my 50s, I watched a stronger man than me lose his footing over something strength never touched. The research on it says grip strength predicts dementia risk years before memory itself starts slipping, a warning sign hiding in plain sight. So if a simple squeeze can flag something in the brain that early, the real question is what's actually happening inside that connection, and why does nobody check it? Point 2. Here's what's happening under the surface, and it's not what most men assume. Grip strength isn't really a muscle test. It's a nervous system test wearing a muscle's clothing. The same motor pathways that fire your hand also run through circuits governing balance, coordination, even processing speed. When those pathways start losing efficiency with age, the hand is one of the first places it shows, because it's one of the most nerve-dense, most constantly used systems in the entire body. There's research behind every part of this, so nobody has to take it on faith. The same large study that found the 43% grip connection also tracked walking speed and found an even sharper link, a 63% higher dementia risk in the adults who'd measurably slowed down. Two completely different physical tests, both quietly reporting on the same underlying system from two different directions. That's not a coincidence. That's a nervous system telling on itself in two languages at the same time, long before either shows up as a diagnosis. So if your body is already reporting on this constantly, the obvious question becomes, what do you actually do with that information before it turns into something you can't undo? Point 3. There's an actual number here, not a vague suggestion. Research on grip strength in men puts 27 kilograms, roughly 60 pounds of squeeze, as the line where probable sarcopenia, clinically significant muscle and nerve loss, becomes a real concern. Most men have never once measured their grip against anything, let alone that number. But here's what nobody explains about that number. It's not a fitness score. It's a threshold your nervous system quietly crosses, and once it's crossed, most men don't notice until something else starts going with it. This is what doesn't get checked at a normal physical. Not because it doesn't matter, but because nobody asks, which is exactly the full self-testing protocol that Still Standing After 60 walks through. It's linked in the description. If you're watching on a TV right now, there's a QR code on screen you can scan straight to it. Point 4. Because grip strength is only one signal. Real assessment means checking it against a handful of others. How fast you walk a short distance, how long you can hold a single leg stance, whether you can get up off the floor without using your hands. Any one number alone can be explained away. Stack 3 or 4 of them pointing the same direction, and that's not chance anymore. That's a pattern. Most men never stack them. They check nothing, assume everything's fine because nothing hurts yet, and wait for a single dramatic moment to tell them what 4 quiet numbers already would have. Here's the part most men miss entirely, and it's the part that actually matters most. Because the research keeps circling back to the same conclusion. It's never really about one number in isolation. A separate research group looked at older adults who had both a slowing walk and early memory changes together, not one or the other, both at once. Their dementia risk wasn't modestly higher, it was 7 to nearly 11 times higher than adults with just one of those changes alone. 11 times. Not because 2 systems failing is twice as bad as 1, because it means the decline isn't isolated anymore, it's systemic, it's spreading. That's not a small early warning anymore, that's a convergence, multiple systems failing together, quietly, long before anyone would call it a diagnosis. And most men only ever check one thing, if they check anything at all, which means most men are working with a single puzzle piece and calling it the whole picture. So before you decide whether that applies to you, let's find out right now in about 10 seconds. Make a fist, squeeze it as hard as you can, and hold that squeeze for a full 3 seconds. Don't just think about it, actually do it right where you're sitting. Now ask yourself honestly, did that feel immediate and strong the way it did 10 years ago, or did it take a beat to get there and fade fast once you let go? That answer, the one only you just got, is more honest than anything I could tell you in this video. Point 5. That's the whole picture. Nobody hands you at a normal checkup. Grip strength, gait speed, balance, the ability to get off the floor unassisted, all reporting on the same nervous system from different angles, and none of them ever check together unless you decide to check them yourself. My father had a grip like a vice until the year he didn't have his footing at all, and the two were never as separate as either of us assumed. He never got a chance to check it before it mattered. You still do. Balance doesn't fail all at once. It fails one system at a time, quietly, grip first sometimes, or gait, or the inner ear, until an ordinary afternoon asks for more than what's left standing. The 43%, the 63%, the 11-fold risk when they combine, none of that is a prediction of what will happen to you. It's a map of what's already measurable right now in a body you still have full control over. You're not a man waiting to find out what's wrong. You're a man with the actual data sitting in his own hands, deciding what to do with it before someone else has to decide for you. So which is it? Do you wait for someone else to notice first, or do you check it yourself today while it's still entirely up to you? That squeeze you just tested isn't a party trick, and it isn't something to shrug off until it changes on its own. Grip strength, gait speed, balance, they don't recover by accident, and they don't wait until you feel ready. That's exactly why Still Standing After 60 exists, not as another workout plan, but as the full self-testing and training system built around every number I just walked you through, so you're not guessing which piece applies to you. It's linked in the description below, and there's a QR code on screen right now if you're watching on a TV. The real cost of waiting isn't dramatic, it's just quiet. Grip and gait decline a little more every year they go unmeasured, and what's a small gap today gets harder to close the longer it's ignored. Not because the work is hard, it isn't, but because nobody reminded you it mattered until right now. If this is the kind of training intelligence you want every week, subscribe. We put out videos weekly, and everyone is built for men serious about staying independent. I'm Atlas Reed. Keep doing the work.